Marine boy.
You haven't met Brad before.
So at this point, all I've done is measured it out. So if you guys had a lot of repairs to do, what my recommendation would be is to have multiple mixing cups. So at this point, what I would do is I would always use this as my B cup to measure, and this would always be my A cup to measure. Okay, at that point, I would have, say, 3 or 4 more cups. Just depends on how large the project is, how many repairs I got to make, okay? And then I can just rotate through my center mixing cups to pour these out of into, and then I can, as these are empty, I can just continue to reuse these cups to measure out, okay? And then as I rotate through my mixing cups, I can actually, that material is going to set up, I can fill the old material right out of the cup and I can just recycle it. Okay?
So we're going to keep using the same cups, so we're not spending lots of money here. We do sell these measuring cups here for you guys. When you pick up the product, you always pick up a few extra cups. They don't cost a lot.
So at this point, all I'm going to do is I'm going to get them together. We may or may not have enough for this track, but you guys will get the concept. Right now, you can still see that we still have quite a bit of viscosity to it. The second I have to take this, it will immediately start to chunk up. Okay? So it immediately turns into a gel. Okay?
Which the normal TX3 stays like a liquid.
Yeah, the normal TX3 grout will stay in a liquid form. Okay? And then I'll be able to work this here just for a little bit, turn it into a little more of a paste. Yep, it'll be, the consistency is a lot like a pancake mix, okay? Maybe a little thicker.
I don't know. My pancake's a lot runnier than that.
Yeah, I only said that because he loves to say that.
I love pancakes.
Yeah, he loves to use pancake mix as his analogy.
So I'll get rid of that, and then I'll get a putty knife here. And then I can just work it in.
What color are we?
It doesn't matter.
This is just the untinted. So the material, my mask out of my mouth. The untinted TX3 material, whether it be in this or the regular TX3, turns out an amber color. Okay? It's best on concrete just because of the texture. You probably could, but I wouldn't recommend it. I'm sorry? No, you don't have to.
Even though he's pulling it tight.
Yeah. So what's, it will not shrink down, no. If you're using it in high temperatures, then it will make it fix faster.
Yeah.
So you'll lose a lot of your working.
Mix less if it's hot.
So at that point, you want to have less mixed up.
What I like to do in the summer is like mix a small little batch up so I can get a feel for when it's going to kick on me, so I don't overdo it. Because even though it's a good price at a 125 for a kit, it's still a lot of money if you lose a half kit, because you mixed up way too much. But what I like about it is that I'm on it in 20, 25 minutes with my next step, which is great because I'm not going to be held up all day waiting for something to dry.
So at that point, once this stuff cures out, we don't have to do anything else to it unless we just want to. But I always like to recommend coming in because you can be a little more sloppy with it. That was a little time consuming even doing a 1 foot section because I had to keep it nice and clean. That's why earlier when I was saying, I don't know if anybody could hear me because I don't think a lot of you could, but I was recommending going into a job site early, maybe even a day before, fixing a lot of your repairs, because then when you come out with all your equipment, you make your initial grind, and that's going to clean it all up for you. So you can kind of come out and be a little more sloppy. I could have just troweled that in there and then just walk away from it. I wouldn't have to have been as neat with it. But in an application like this, where we're essentially wanting to just come straight in and start cutting, then I got to keep it cleaned up a little bit. So, but this will be cured out in 20, 25 minutes, give or take. And it's still, I still have quite a bit of working time with it. And this cup is roasting hot as far as kicking off. That's why the more you mix in a cup, the faster it's going to kick because there's so much heat producing in here, okay? So the less I make, the less heat I'm producing, so the little more working time I've got. So we mix probably 6 ounces total, give or take. You know, and I mean that went a good little ways, and we still have a good amount inside the cup that you know is essentially going to waste. But at this point, you know, you wouldn't have to do any more than that other than cleaning it up just a little more to go right over the top of it with the coating. And then, you know, in 20, 25 minutes, we're ready to keep on with the application. Any questions?
Yeah, if you want to design a floor, would it accept that?
It will not. That's a good question. Using this material on a polished floor, much like this, once this material cures out, it will not accept dye because it's a urethane-based material. This material is going to cure out about 4,000 psi. Okay, so it will not accept dye. Now, if you were to use what we did over here on this polished floor repair on the crack side, we mixed TX3, we mixed sand, and then we mixed, I think it was just grinder dust from the floor.
Yep.
At that point, then it will take dye because at that point, what you're actually staining is the aggregate and the grinder dust that you've introduced into the material. But the material itself, yeah, you'd want to tint this beforehand. And you guys have, as far as the TX material, the TX line goes, there's hundreds of colors you can pre-tint this material. Okay.
TX3 same color. TX3.
Right. Exactly. They're universal. So if you know, like Aqua Concepts, they use our TX3. So if they had a TX3 temp pack sitting around and then ordered some TX gel, that temp pack goes into this material. So, and that's another good point to make. When you guys buy this stuff, you buy it untinted. Okay, so you could buy these. You could buy 5 or 10 kits of it, have them sitting around, and then you could just swing by or order the temp pack and have those shipped. Okay, we don't pre-tint them so that you guys have that option of picking from job to job what color you need for that specific job.
Yeah.
And then that way you're never locked in if we send it to you pre-tint.
If you got a job 2-3 hours away and you don't know the color of the concrete, because you know here typically we see warm stone, but it could be light gray, grizzle gray. Get down there, have a color chip. They can match it. We can just send a color pack. We just did that for an Amazon up in Philly. I'm not going to drive 3 hours to go back and forth material. We just shipped all the material up and just direct ship the color packs. And the color packs are cheap and light.
The biggest thing that I see with guys in this area is everybody calls concrete gray. We don't really have gray concrete here in the Northeast. This is closer to warm stone or cardboard are the two most popular colors. But everybody's like, let me get standard gray, let me get standard gray. And standard gray is nothing
Is that?
like our concrete. So that's the biggest mistake. So that's what they're saying about just taking a chip, putting it on the floor and checking it out. Because everybody's like, oh, give me gray, gray, gray. Concrete's not gray. It's tan. So.
Any questions? No? All right, we'll head back and do another sample of the marble wrap. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.